In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to get started with your digital marketing agency. I wanna give you everything that you'll need for success, so I'm gonna be breaking the video down into two parts. The first part is gonna be showing you how to build a sleek and professional looking digital marketing agency website. And the second part of the video is gonna be covering everything that you'll need to know when it comes to starting and running your own digital marketing agency. Now, to make this as easy to follow and navigate as possible, I've included timestamps of the entire video down in the description, so feel free to come back to this video and rewatch any of the steps that you need to hear again. Now, the goal of a digital marketing agency is to help clients reach their target audience more effectively and efficiently. And to do this, they execute marketing campaigns that are obviously tailored towards their clients' needs. The goal of these campaigns can be improving brand awareness, generating leads, and also improving sales. So we need this site to clearly display who we are and what we do by showing services or the work that we've done for past clients. We also need to establish trust and convince our future clients that we're the answer for them. The main goal of this website is to capture new leads and have future clients get in contact with us to work. So let's go ahead and dive into building the website now. Now, the very first step is going to be getting a domain name and web hosting for your website. And if you want to build a website, you have to have a domain name and web hosting, plain and simple. Now, there's tons of hosting providers out there, but we always recommend Hostinger on this channel because, in our opinion, they're the absolute best. They seriously provide the most affordable hosting out there for what they actually provide. Their customer service is also top tier. If you want to sign up for web hosting today and get a custom domain name to build your website so that you can follow along with this tutorial, all you have to do is click on the very first link that's down in the description, or you can go to createaprowebsite.com/hostinger, and it'll take you to a special co-branded landing page that we have with them. So from this special co-branded landing page, we're going to scroll on down and you'll see the three different plans that they have available for you. We've got the single, the premium, and the business plan. And here on the channel, I always recommend the premium web hosting plan right here because of all of the things that you get included with the package. Specifically, you get the unlimited free SSL certificate, which other hosting companies sometimes make you pay for that. So it's kind of cool that they include that for free. You get free emails that you can set up with your domain name, and you also get a free domain name included with your hosting package. Most of the time you actually don't, as you can see with the single right here, the single web hosting plan, you don't get a free domain name. So that's an extra $10 right there that you have to pay. So you're saving money by choosing the premium plan. So I'm going to click on select right here. All right. So after that, we get to choose our period, and you'll see that we've got 1 month, 12 months, 24 months, and 48 months. You basically get to choose when you get charged. I'm going to go ahead and select the 12 months or the 1 year essentially, because your domain registration is going to be for 1 year. So you might as well have your hosting plan match up with 12 months. But that's just me. Okay, so next what you get to do is create your account by entering in your email address right here, and then we're gonna fill out all of our payment information down below. Now, before I actually enter in my credit card information, I wanted to make sure that you guys see that, first of all, from $143, you're only paying $35 for your first year of the premium web hosting. So that's that huge discount that I was talking about. But you'll see the actual amount that you're saving is $111.59. And so you'll see that with that coupon code Create a Pro Website, we're saving a ton of money. So instead of paying $143, we're only paying $32 total, which is pretty cool. So anyways, I'll see you guys on the next screen. I'm gonna go ahead and start entering in my credit card information right now. Okay, so once you fill out your payment information, you're gonna be greeted by this page right here that says hello. So we're gonna click on Start Now. And from here, it's gonna ask, do you wanna create or migrate your website? Now, if you're coming to this tutorial and you already have a website built, but you're trying to move it over to Hostinger, this is where you would go, migrate my website. But we're gonna be creating a website from scratch for this tutorial, obviously. So I'm gonna be clicking on the left-hand side, create a new website right here. Next, we get to select our platform, which I'm gonna be using WordPress. So we'll click on select right here. And now we get to create our login details for the WordPress account. And so this is your admin account to edit your website every single time. So make sure you remember this login and password right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my administrator email, and I'll enter in my own password just like that. And from here, we'll click on continue. Next, it's gonna ask if you wanna add any plugins to your website preemptively before we even get in. But we're gonna say skip because I'm gonna show you guys how to install all of the necessary plugins a little bit later in the video. It's also gonna ask if you want any templates, but I'm gonna say just skip. Okay, so next we get to name our website right here, and you'll see that we get to claim the free domain name, specifically with the premium shared hosting package that I selected. Now, if you guys selected a different package, this might not be available to you. So that's why I always recommend the premium shared hosting plan. So I'm gonna claim my free domain name right here. And so now here comes a search bar, and we can search from whatever domain name we want. We can try out whatever we want. But over here on the right-hand side, you'll see the .in. I'm going to change that to .com. You guys can select whatever you want, obviously, but I always recommend a .com because it's the most common that people use when they're looking for a website. And on top of that, it's also the most professional looking, so I'd recommend going with a .com if you can. If you can't find your desired domain name with a .com, you can always try other domains, but I would try and just do a variation to get a .com. That's up to you, though. Okay, so I'm going to type in my own domain name here and try something out. So I'm going to try out Market CAPW. So that's Market Create a Pro Website. So I'm going to click on Search, and we'll see what happens. Perfect. It looks like my domain name is available. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Continue. Next, all you have to do is click on Finish Setup and wait for it to finish setting up. All right, once Hostinger is finished setting up your website, you'll have two different options in front of you. You can either go to the control panel, which is the back end of your website, or you can click on Edit Your Website and be taken directly to WordPress, as you can see. So we're going to click on Edit Website right here. Okay, and you'll notice that it's loading a preview of my domain, and it's verifying that I'm human, which I am. You'll notice that it's a preview though, and that's perfectly fine. So if you get taken to a page that looks like this, access denied, or anything other than your website or your WordPress dashboard, do not worry. The only thing that's happening right now is your website is just taking a few minutes to propagate. And what propagating means is Hostinger is now taking the new domain name that you just purchased, and it's sending it to every single server in the entire world to let everyone know that you just purchased it and it's live. And this process is perfectly normal, so don't worry. Sometimes it loads pretty much instantly, and sometimes it'll take a little bit of time. So you'll notice that I'm taken to this preview with the access denied. I can close out of the tab, and I can click on Edit Website again. And this page specifically is your WordPress dashboard. Now, if you're taken to any other page inside of your WordPress dashboard, like maybe you show up in a post like this, or maybe you show up in the Hostinger tab so it looks like this, your website is published, that's perfectly fine. Over here on the left-hand side, click on Dashboard, and it's going to take you to the same page. All right, friends, with our domain name and hosting out of the way, it's time to move on to step number 2, which is to download a complete website template to save us a bunch of time. To build a site from scratch right now would add another 2 or 3 hours onto the tutorial. So we're going to skip all of that time by just using a website template. From your WordPress dashboard, we're going to go over to the left-hand side, hover our mouse over plugins, and then click on Add New. Now I'm going to open this up on a new tab strictly because I always like having a dashboard to go back to. So if I'm ever making changes over here, I can jump back to my dashboard, open something else up. So you'll see me open up new tabs all of the time. Speaking of which, we can actually close out of this Hostinger tab because we don't need it anymore. So I'm going to close out of that one. And now I've got just my dashboard up and I clicked on Add Plugins. Okay, so from here, we're going to go to the search bar in the top right corner and click on Starter Templates, or you would type it in, obviously. And then from here, you're going to click on Install Now, and then activate. You'll be taken to a page that looks like this, and this is like your plugins tab, as you can see right here. It's a list of all of the plugins that you have on your website. Now we're gonna go down to Starter Templates right here, and then click on See Library. Okay, next I'm gonna click on Build Your Website, and we're gonna be selecting Elementor, which is a super easy to use drag and drop page builder plugin. And so we're gonna be downloading it along with the template, don't worry, but just make sure you select this one instead of the Block or Beaver Builder. We're using Elementor. Okay, so this is the library of tons of different website templates that you can scroll through, and you can choose whichever one you think is going to work best for you. So you can click on one like this, and then over here on the right-hand side, you've got the site preview that you can scroll through. And then over here on the left-hand side, you've got the menu where you can make changes to it. And so over here, we've got the logo where you can upload files and then click on Skip and Continue. We're going to do this in just a second, but let's select a different one because it looks like that's kind of a construction one, construction company. Up here on the top, we've got different industries or categories that you can look through. So if you go to business, you'll see different types of businesses that you can look for. I'm literally just going to search digital marketing agency and see what they have. And just like that, they've got a bunch of templates that you can look through. As you can see, some of them have this little premium tab right here, and then some of them don't. Obviously, premium is if you pay for the premium version of starter templates, but we're not going to be doing that. We're going to stick to the free version. So I'm going to use this one right here because it's called a digital agency. So it's kind of exactly what we're trying to design. So I'm going to click on this guy, and we can scroll through a preview on the right. And then over here on the left is where we're going to make changes. Now, I'm going to go ahead and skip the whole uploading of the logo here because you can preemptively upload it, and it's going to put it already right up here in the top left corner. I'm going to skip this because later on in the video, I'm going to show you guys how to build a logo completely for free without having to download any software or anything like that. And so we're not going to do the logo right now. I'm going to click on Skip and Continue. Next, what we get to do is change the color palette and the font combo as well. And so over here for the change colors, you can click on different colors and you'll see that it's going to change everything on the website. So if I choose purple, yes, you guys can see that all of the colors are changing. And so it doesn't really matter which one we're going to pick here because I'm going to insert my own custom colors a little bit later on. So you guys can pick whichever one you guys think would look best for your business or anything like that. But I'm going to go ahead and stick to this green right here. I think that's fine. It's close enough to the color that I'm going to use, and I'll show you guys how I'm going to do that later. And then we also get to select our font right here. And so I'm going to select the Poppins Lato because I kind of like how this one looks. It's more of a bold font rather than being something like this where it's got all these tails like a serif. But I'm going to stick to Poppins Lato and then click on continue. And then you're going to want to leave all of these checkboxes enabled except for this one. I mean, honestly, if you guys want to leave it, you can, but I just don't. And then I'm going to click on submit and build my website. Now what this is going to do is it's automatically going to install, as you can see, all of the plugins that you're going to use for this entire tutorial, as well as the WordPress theme that you need. It's going to download everything. And so now you can see, congratulations, your website is done. It only took 20 seconds to build a website, so that's kind of crazy. If we click on view your website, you'll see that now if someone goes to marketcapw.com right here, this is exactly what they're going to see. And so we can scroll through the website if you want, but you guys already saw just a second ago when I scrolled through it. Go to the services tab as well. This is their services page, the about page, and the contact page as well. And so it looks really good. We'll go back to the home page. Now, before we make any other changes or we move on to the next step, I first really quickly want to change the colors of my website. Because personally, I think this green isn't the best, and I've got a better color in mind. So what I'm going to do is go over to Customize in the top left corner. And this is still under the Download Your Template step because I just want to squeeze this in really quickly. We can close out of this middle tab right here. So we just have our dashboard, and now we're customizing. Over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to click on Global, and then I'm going to go to Colors because I want to edit my global color palette, as you guys can see here. Now, these colors right here are what's completely changing everything on the website. So earlier on when we downloaded the template and you guys were clicking through those different colors, you were selecting which one of these you wanted on your website. So for instance, if I were to change this color to something like red, like this, you'll see that in some places the red is being used. So it looks like most of it's using this one. So let's do it with this one. I'm going to click on this guy right here, and let's change this to yellow. Just like that. If I scroll down, everything's yellow. So now you guys will see that whenever I change the color, it completely changes everything on the website, which is pretty cool. And so I'm going to show you guys how to customize the site to your liking, don't worry. But for right now, what we're going to do is actually add our own custom colors. And let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to choose this color right here, number 2, and I'm going to enter in my own color code that I have saved on my computer. Okay, so that's my first color code. The second one, what I'm going to do is go ahead and copy this one with Controller Command C, and we're going to paste it into this one right here. So Controller Command V, just like this. And then what I'm going to do is select a little bit lighter of a color. So I kind of just go diagonal up and to the left right here. And so now, as you guys can see, it's kind of the same color, but just a little bit brighter. And that's going to basically be my hover color. So anytime I hover my mouse over something, it's probably going to select the brighter color right there. Next thing I'm going to do is edit color number 5. It's not quite FFFFFF, which would be white. And so I'm just going to drag it up into the corner and make it perfectly white, as you can see. So now it's all Fs down there. Click on number 6. It looks like it's already white. And then I'll also click on color number 9 and also make it all the way white, just like this. Okay, so now that we've changed the colors of the website, you guys can scroll through the rest of the site and see that everything looks different, which I kind of like. And I think that looks pretty good. One thing that we can do is if I wanted to, I could actually switch these two colors because it looks like for the most part of my website, it's using the primary color instead of the color that I want right here. So what I'm going to do is actually copy and paste this right over here again. As you can see, so it's actually using my primary color, which is what I wanted. And then instead, color number 2 is going to be my hover color. So I'll make it a little bit brighter, something like this. Perfect. And we'll make those changes later. Okay, so now that we've finished making colors, or changes to the colors, I'm going to click on Publish to Save, and we can close out of this tab and go back to the dashboard. Now, if you didn't have a tab open and you're wondering how you can get back to the dashboard from that Customize tab, all you got to do is click on the X button right here, and it's going to take you back, just like this. And then from here, WordPress dashboard. So hover under your website name and go to dashboard. Okay, so now we have successfully installed that template and I changed up the colors a little bit. From your WordPress dashboard, I'm gonna go back over here and click on my name, or the website name up in the top left corner. And that's what's gonna open up my website, which I'm gonna view in a new tab, as you guys can see. So I still have a dashboard to go back to. Let me close out of these. They're bothering me. Okay. So now from the dashboard, we opened up our website on a new tab and we can see our site. From here, we're gonna click on Edit with Elementor right here in the top left corner. If you don't see Edit with Elementor right here, total side note, you guys could always go over to Pages and then click on the home page right here, Edit with Elementor. So you'd click on this and it's gonna take you to the same place. Sometimes this admin bar glitches out, so just want to let you guys know. But we're going to click on Edit with Elementor. All right, friends, this is my favorite part of the process. We get to customize the site that we just downloaded. Realistically, the only thing that we have to do is just insert our own pictures, videos, and text into the website, and it's basically going to be ours. Now, if you don't have images ready for your website, you can always go to unsplash.com or other websites like Unsplash and get a bunch of free images that you can use. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the way that Elementor works is when you're building your website over here on the right-hand side, you'll see all these boxes popping up as I hover over things. So everything I hover over, it's got this weird box that pops up. So let me show you guys what this means. Out here in the ether, you'll see that I'm hovering my mouse in the corner. When I'm hovering my mouse over the corner, you'll see this blue box appear all the way around this white section right here. And that's what's called a section. As you can see, if I hover my mouse right here, it'll say Edit Section. So whenever that blue box is hovering over the background, it means that I can edit the section. And I can right click and say Edit Section, or I could click on the 6 dots and it does the same thing. As you can see, we're editing the section. Now the section is basically the background. And so right now it's just using the white color, but if I changed this to something else, if I so chose, like red for instance, you'll see that I am basically editing the background. All right, let's go ahead and reset that. Okay, so the section is basically the background. Inside of a section, you can place a column, which is this gray dotted box, and they stack horizontally. So if I add a new column, you'll see that it stacks horizontally on the right. I'm going to right click and say delete. So inside of a section, we can have columns, and you can have multiple columns. Now inside of a column, you have widgets, which are these small blue boxes. As you can see, each one of these little guys is a widget. This is a title widget or a heading widget. So if I right click on it, you'll see it says edit the heading. This is a text editor, and this is another heading over here, right? So as you guys can see, you can edit whatever you want. If I scroll on down and I want to edit this picture, I can right click on it and say edit the image. So that's basically Elementor in a nutshell. You've got the section, which is your background, columns, which are basically containers that hold all of your widgets, which are inside. So over here on the right, you've got the preview of the website, as you can see, and then over here on the left is where you're making all of the changes to your website. And when I said that Elementor is drag and drop, as you can see, if I were to drag this image into my website and place it right there, it really is drag and drop. As I drag one of the widgets in, it's just going to place it right here, and then if I wanted to, I could choose an image, for instance, and now I have an image right here. So it's really simple to use, but I'm going to right-click on it and say delete, so that goes away. And we'll click on update in the bottom left corner to make sure that that's saved. The update button right down here in the left corner updates whatever changes you made to your website and publishes them live, which is the equivalent of just saving your work. So anytime you want to save, you'll see me clicking on update all the time, just so I don't lose my progress. Okay, so now that you guys have a basic understanding of how to use Elementor, there's one other thing I want to show you before we actually start editing. If I were to edit a heading like this and click on it, or I could right click and say edit heading, you'll see over on the left-hand side, we've got 3 different tabs right here. We've got the Content tab, the Style tab, and the Advanced tab. The Content tab is always going to have content settings. So this is where you actually type out what's there. This is where you can change the alignment. If I want it to, instead of on the left, I can make it to the right, as you can see, right? The Style tab has things like the color, the typography, which is where you can change the font right here, or you can change the size. You can make it uppercase, lowercase, whatever you guys want, and things like that. You can add text strokes, shadow, blends, and stuff like that. The Advanced tab is where we can mess with margins and padding, and that's pretty much the only thing we're going to do in the Advanced tab. Now, margins and padding basically just add space inside of your blue box. So if I wanted to add some space in between this text and this text, I could just add a little bit of padding on the bottom. So I'm going to unlink the values. And if I were to add something to the bottom like 50, you'll see that I'm adding space in between the two. Here, let me make it more drastic. Let's add 300, just like this. But I'm going to clear that out. Okay. So you guys get the idea, you understand how this works. So from here, what I'm gonna do is actually change the background image first. So I'm gonna right click way out here in the ether and say edit section, or you could click on edit section right here, which is the 6 dots, and I'm editing the background. I can go to the style tab, and then I can change the background image. So what I'm gonna do is click on it, click on upload files, and I can select files directly from my computer. So what I'm going to do is go to my handy dandy folder where I've got all of my images, and I'm just going to upload everything. Now, as you guys can see, if I were to select this image, for example, and say insert, you can place whatever image you want in the background. Just that plain and simple. But what I'm going to do is off camera, I went ahead and edited a wallpaper in Photoshop just because I wanted to be a little creative and I want to have some fun with this. So I went ahead and put together this little wallpaper in the background. So it's basically just a picture. So I uploaded it to my computer and I can insert the media. And now I've got this really cool wallpaper in the background. Now I'm going to remove this black overlay because it's kind of making it really hard to see my beautifully photoshopped image. So we're going to go over to background overlay and I can just remove this coloring by click on clear, just like this. And so now there's no overlay. You can just perfectly see my image. The last thing I'm going to do is actually just delete everything inside of here. And so we've got 3 different widgets. To make it easy, let me actually just put that back. So we've got 3 things. We've got this button, text, and text. So I'm just going to right click on each of them and say delete. Just like that. Now inside of your column, you'll see a little plus button and it's basically begging you to add widgets to it because it's empty. And so we're going to add widgets to it in just a second, so don't worry. But before we do, let me go ahead and remove that background overlay now. So I'm going to go back to editing my section, background overlay, and we'll remove it. Okay. So I've got this really cool wallpaper in the background, and I also really like how it's got this parallax effect, where as I scroll down on the website, it basically just scoops over my background image. So that's pretty cool. You can see how poorly I photoshopped this, and I just didn't care. Okay. So let's click on Update to save. All right, so next what we're going to do, we're actually going to start adding widgets. So I'm going to click on my little plus button here, and it opens up all of the widgets that I can drag around. If you don't have a little plus button right here, which you always will, but if you don't, you can also click, here, let me open something. I'll say edit this. You can always click on this little Rubik's Cube icon right here, and you'll see that it takes me back to all my widgets. So that's your widgets button right there. Okay, so you guys can repeat after me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a heading widget, just like this. And it looks like there's some extra padding in here. As you can see, there's a bunch of space. So really quickly before I continue, let's edit the column here. Go to the Advanced tab. And as you can see, there's like 300 padding on the top setting right here. So that's why there's so much space up here. I'm going to link them all together so they're all the same. And then just clear it out. Okay, perfect. We'll get back to adding some padding and stuff like that if we need to later. So we've got our heading right here, and I think it looks great. Let's go ahead and duplicate it 3 times. Well, 2 times, because I want 3 of them. So right click and say duplicate, and then duplicate again. And so now I've got 3. Next, what I want to do is right click on the column and say add new column. So I'm adding a new column over here, basically just taking up space. It's invisible to your website visitors, but it's taking up space, so now all of my text is over here on the left-hand side. But I want my text even further on the left-hand side. So in order to do that, I have to basically remove the box that's holding my columns in the center. And to do that, I have to edit the section. And so basically I'm editing the background again. Remember, we just put the image back here. Under the Layout tab, you can change the content width from boxed, check this out, to full width. Which basically means that now, as you can see, my columns stretch the full width of my screen. Okay, so now my text is finally way over here on the left-hand side. Looks so much better. That's where I want it. But I don't like that it's edging right up against the side of my screen. So now I will go back into my column and add a little bit of padding on the left. So we'll go to the Advanced tab, and we can add some padding. Let's try 200. Okay, I actually think 200 might be too much. Let's try 150, and we'll call it a day. Yeah, I think 150 looks pretty good. So from here, what we can do is actually start changing up our titles. So the first title that we can change is the middle. And so you can click on it, and Elementor makes it really easy. You can literally just type directly on your screen, just like this. And you can also click over here in the left-hand side, and you can type your own text over here as well. And as you can see, it pops up on your website. It's the same thing. So what I'm going to do is type out my main title right here. Now, you guys would want to get creative with whatever your digital marketing agency is going to be. I just kind of came up with some dummy text to put in here. Market is the digital platform to use. So from here, I'm gonna go to the Style tab, and you'll notice that I didn't capitalize all my text, and that's because I wanted it to automatically do it. I can go to Typography, Transform, and say Capitalize, and it's just gonna capitalize all of my text. Next, I don't like that my column is over here kind of overlapping on the computer, and so I can go back into my column here, go to the Advanced tab, and I can add some padding on the right, which would be over here, and basically saying that I don't want my text to overlap on the laptop. And so let's go ahead and add some padding here until we notice a change. Here, let's try adding like 200. Okay, that did the trick. It's probably, yeah, so this is now where the line is. As you can see, the edge of my blue box is right here. If I were to remove this 200, you'll see that the edge of my blue box is way over here. So maybe if we add like 150. Yeah, that's pretty good. As you can see, the blue line is like right there on my laptop, so that's pretty good. Okay, so we've edited the first title, and I think it looks just fine. Let's go ahead and edit the next two, which is the top and bottom. So I'm gonna click on Edit Your Heading Text up here, and type something out like this. We're gonna go to the Style tab, and we will click on the globe icon right here. So instead of changing the color manually and picking a color, I can go to the global icon and use my color palette that we just edited a few minutes ago. So I'm gonna use my main theme color, just like this. I'm also gonna go to Typography and change my capitalization. So now everything's capitalized. Again, you guys could capitalize your letters if you want to. I just like how now automatically, if I ever change this title and I started typing, it's always gonna type the first letter, or it's gonna capitalize the first letter of whatever I'm typing. So that's the reason that I always use it. You guys can just capitalize your text if you don't wanna be lazy like I am. Okay, so we just changed the color and we also made sure that it's capitalized. I also wanna reduce the size. This is more of a subtitle, so we're gonna make it like this, about this size. All right, so let's do the same thing to this text right here. We're gonna click on it and we can type out whatever we want. All right, so we've got web design, SEO, optimization, and content creation. So those are the three services that I'm pretending to provide as a digital marketing agency. And I'll get into different services and things like that later on in the video. Right now, we're just focusing on building our website. So over here on the Style tab, I'm gonna do the same thing. This time I'm actually gonna select the gray color that I selected for my website. So as you can see, it's kind of green, black, and gray. We're gonna go to Typography and reduce the size. Something like that. And you guessed it, I'm gonna capitalize all of that. Now, I could also, if I wanted to, make it uppercase, but that might be a little much. Yeah, it looks a little much. So I'm gonna leave it as capitalize. Okay. So now that that's done, we can add a few more things. We're gonna add a text editor as well as a button. So let's do that now. I'm gonna go back to my little Rubik's Cube icon and I can add a text editor. And as you can see, when I'm hovering over, wherever that blue line is where it's gonna go. So if I place the blue line down there, now my text is down below. And finally, you guessed it, we're gonna go back and add a button. Perfect. Okay, so the text editor, really simple, same thing. I can literally just click right here on screen and I can start typing and it's gonna add my text to the screen. Or again, I can go over here to the content tab and just type out whatever I want. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys type out whatever you want as a little subtitle. I'm just gonna leave it as dummy text just so you guys can see what it would look like. Okay, and then finally what we can do is click on edit button right here. You can right click and say edit button, or you can click on the pencil icon, or you can just literally click on the button if you want to. Now, you can literally type your text right here. It's very simple. And so instead of click here, let's try something like learn more. And then we can add the link. And so the main thing that a button is used for is when you click on it, it takes you somewhere, right? Well, whatever link you place right here is where that button's gonna take you. So for instance, if I open up YouTube on a new tab real quick, and I just copy the URL, just for an example, don't worry. And we paste it right here, Command V. Let's click on update to save our work. If anyone were to click on this button, it's gonna take them to YouTube. And let me show you guys that right now. You guys don't have to follow along with me. I'm gonna click on learn more and it just opened up YouTube, as you can see. So pretty easy to use. The way that I opened up my website, by the way, is right next to update, it's a little preview changes button. And so when you click on it, on a new tab, it opens up your website live so that you can see the changes that you're making. Okay, so I'm gonna close out of that tab again. Okay, so now my hero section is looking pretty good in my opinion. If we open it up on a new tab again, you'll see that you've got like this really cool minimalistic looking background and we've got the text over here on the left-hand side. It's looking really techy and really modern, minimalistic. I love how this looks. So Next, what we're going to do is start editing the rest of the website. Don't worry, I know that the text is really hard to see up here and the logo's hard to see, and that's because we've got a white background with white text. And so we're going to make changes to this later on in the video because that's the logo and that's the header menu. So just ignore it for now. Okay, so now if we scroll on down, we've got the next section, which is hire for us, or hire us for, which is basically like your services section. And so you'll notice that I'm going to go with the 3 services right here. And there's a ton of different services that you can provide as a digital marketing agency, but I would recommend trying to narrow it down to a few of the services that you are pretty much an expert at. You don't want to be mediocre at a bunch of different things. You want to be an expert at a few things and then offer those services. So I'm going to say that I'm an expert in web design, SEO optimization, and content creation. And so that's what we're pretending for this example. And so I would make those services my services down here. So I'd say web design, and then this one would be SEO optimization, and then marketing is going to change to content creation. Perfect. Next, we can click on update to save our work, and now that's live on your website. Now, I'm going to let you guys come in here and click right here, and you guys can put in a little description of the web design that you do, the SEO optimization you do, and the content creation you do. So you guys can put in your own little blurbs about what you do. I'm going to leave that just there as an example for you guys. Scroll on down next. We've got this About Me section, and I personally don't really like how they've got this image just kind of drop down right here. It's kind of bothering me. Maybe it's just my OCD. I don't know. But I'm going to right-click on it and say delete, because I don't even like that picture there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is actually right-click on the section, and I'm going to add my own background image. And so I'll click on Insert. As you can see, I've already created the logo off camera, but I'm going to show you guys how to make it, so don't worry. But I already created the logo, and I photoshopped it onto these buildings. So if I insert it, you'll see that now it looks like the logo's back there. So what I'm going to do next is change the position to be center-center, so it's focusing on the center of the image. And then the display size is going to be cover, which is basically going to stretch this image perfectly so that it fits in the background. And I'm also going to say no repeat. Okay, so now that I've got my background image back here, and it's kind of like their office building, About Us, which is Market, which is the company that I'm building. Next, what I have to do is change all of this color of text because it's kind of hard to see it on the background. So we're just right-click and say Edit Heading, go to the Style tab, and we'll change the color to be Theme Color 5, which is white. And it's that simple. I'm going to do the same thing for all of this. It's the exact same thing. Right-click on this text right here. It says Edit Heading. Go to the Style tab, change the color, go to white. You guys already know what I'm doing, so I'm going to go a little bit faster without kind of slowing down to tell you guys what I'm doing. So let's just do this really, really fast. Click on Update to save our work. Okay, now again, the mission. This is where you would put in your mission statement for your company or for your digital marketing agency. And this is also where you would put your vision, or you can completely change this and say this is about us. Maybe you just delete these 2 titles and you just put one giant paragraph talking about how you got started, how long you've been doing this, what your expertises are, those kinds of things. Okay, so that's the About section. I'm going to go ahead and scroll on down, and next we've got our social proof section. And so clients we've worked with. You'll see things like all of these fake logos right here. Now, if you actually go to a real digital marketer's website, you'll see a bunch of logos of the companies that they worked with. That being said, this is where you're going to paste in logos that you have. Now, if you don't have this, you don't have clients that you've worked with, you guys can always literally just right-click and say delete. And so you can remove this, and you can also delete this entire thing by just clicking on the X button right here. So I could delete that, and I could say delete this, and now it just goes straight to why choose us. And so this is kind of your value, your unique value proposition for your website. So if you guys don't have social proof yet, which again, later on in the video, I'm going to talk to you guys in part 2 about how to kind of get your first clients, how to build social proof and all that stuff. If you don't have it, just delete it. But if you do have it and you've already been kind of at this for a while, let's go ahead and I'm going to push Control Z, which basically undoes whatever I just did. I'm going to leave those there. Because you guys can always click on this just like this, and you'll see the image. You just click on it, and you would upload a different logo from your website. Let's pretend that Market is one of the companies that I used, and that's my logo. Click on Insert, and what do you know? Now my logo is right there with the rest of them. I'm going to click on Update to save, and I'm just going to leave that there just for fun. Okay. Scroll on down, the why choose us. This is where you'll want to put your value proposition for your marketing agency. Why you think that you're a perfect fit for whatever company is coming to your website looking for marketing services. Scroll on down a little bit further, and we've got this little box that says, do you have a project in mind? Yeah, get in contact with us, or get in contact with us is what I was trying to say. And so we've got a picture over here and text over here. Now you guys already know how to edit text. You literally just click on it and you can type directly on screen, right? And then same thing with this. You guys just click on it and you can literally start typing. So I'm gonna let you guys type out your personal little snippet right here. Over here on the right-hand side, you can right-click and say Edit Image. And specifically, we're editing this bottom one, not this top one, because there's nothing there. Oh, it looks like they're using the same image twice. Interesting. But we are editing this image. And so we can choose the image right over here on the left-hand side. And if I replace it with a different picture, something like this one, because it's horizontal, now the picture is different, right? But I actually do have a picture for this, and it's going to be this one. We'll say Insert Media. And there's this super ergonomic looking desk, really fancy looking, modern, minimalistic, because that's kind of what we're going for with this website style. Click on Update to Save. Okay, so I think this looks really good. Over here on the bottom left corner, you've got a button that you can click on, and you can add your own link. And so you might want to connect this with the contact section of your website. So actually, let's do that now. We're going to remove that placeholder and type out contact. And you'll see that Elementor is automatically going to search your website for individual pages. And if you look at the top, my navigation menu isn't up there when I'm inside of Elementor, but we have a contact page already built. Click on it, and it's going to automatically place your URL inside of Elementor, so that's pretty cool. So we went ahead and linked this one up. Actually, while we're at it, let's link this one up as well. Learn more. If you want this to link to your About page, you just edit the button. Let's change it from YouTube to About. And we've got the About page, sample page, home page. We want the About page. Click on it, and now you've automatically linked this button to the About page. Let's go back down. Okay, so now when people click on this button, let me go ahead and preview the changes. When someone clicks on this one, it takes them to the About page, right? And then when someone clicks on this one down here, it takes them to the contact page, as you can see. Pretty cool. Okay, so the last thing I want to change is this background over here, and this is pulling from those global colors that I have built into the website. If you guys remember, that's how I'm changing the colors of almost everything on the website. And so we actually need to change this because I must have missed this dark green back here. I don't like it. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Again, if you didn't open a extra tab for your Elementor page, the way that you get back to your dashboard is you click on the hamburger icon, you say exit. It's going to ask, where do you want to exit to? And you say, to my WordPress dashboard, and then you would click apply. And you're going to say leave. And now you're back on your dashboard. But again, that is why I always have an extra tab open so that I can jump back to my dashboard. So I've got Elementor open on this tab, back to my dashboard. So from here, we'll hover over Appearance and we'll click on Customize right there. And now we are customizing our website. We'll go back to Global Colors. And from here, it looks like color 3 is a dark green, and I actually just want it to be black. So let's make sure that color 7, okay, perfect. Color 7 is also black, perfect. So I missed that earlier on in the video when we changed that color. And so now you'll see that if I scroll on down, it's pitch black. I think that just looks better. Publish, and we're leaving. Okay, so now we're back inside of Elementor. You'll notice it's still green because we have to refresh the page because we made a change outside of Elementor. And let's go ahead and go back down. So we finished this section right here. We'll move on to the Trusted Partners section, which is essentially where you're showing off your team. And we're going to talk about this again in part 2 of the video. So while we're in part 1, I'm not going to get too much into it, but you can decide whether you want this to be just a solo effort where it's just you, your laptop, working from home, doing small digital marketing projects for people, or you can start hiring freelancers to work for you, where you're building your team and developing your own company. That way you can take on more projects or larger projects, right? And so this is the section where you would show off your team. Maybe you have a bunch of pictures of all of the team members, all of the freelancers. This is very common on a digital marketing agency website. And so it's nice that this template has it built into this one as well. So from here, you can of course click on the text and change it whenever you want. It says your trusted partners. If you don't have any partners, you might just want to delete this entire section. And you can do that by just clicking on the X button right here, and it just completely deletes it and pulls the subscribe button right up to the top. But I'm going to hit Control or Command Z to undo that, because I'm assuming that maybe some of y'all are hiring some freelancers, or maybe you have like a buddy of yours that's working with you. And so you'd have a picture of you and a picture of your buddy, right? So you guys already know how to edit the text, so I'm not going to do that for you guys. You can just click on it and start typing if you want to change the words around. But over here, the bottom pictures that you have, you can just click on them And it'll open up in Lightroom, it looks like, so you can kind of scroll through them if you want to, so that's kind of cool, but my bad. You don't want to click on it. You want to click on the pencil icon, and now you're editing the basic gallery, as you can see. If you click on the actual gallery, you can, first of all, drag and drop them to reorder them. So if I say insert, now they're going to be reordered. Or you can just click on the little X button that turns into a minus, and then you can upload your own files if you want to, and choose different pictures. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it like this. All right, we'll click on Update to Save, and I think it looks great. The last thing that we have that we can edit, it looks like, is this little subscription form. Really simple. First of all, on the right-hand side, this is a WP Forms widget, as you can see. Now, WP Forms stands for WP, which is WordPress Forms. You got contact forms. So all this is a contact form. As you can see over here on the left-hand side, if I were to change this from newsletter sign up to contact form, you'll see a full contact form here, right? Every time I click on this right here, this drop down, it's searching all of the different forms that you have built on your website. And it looks like there's two of them, a contact form and a newsletter sign up form. And all the newsletter sign up form is just one field where they enter in their email address and you say, I'm interested, let's do this, right? Now over here on the left-hand side, you guys know how to change text, really easy. And you also know that you can edit the section background and you can change the color if you want to. Okay, so that being said, if you guys want to make any changes to your WP Forms, you can right-click on it. And over here on the left-hand side, you can edit the selected form. It's going to open up WP Forms inside of Elementor, which is really cool. And now I can edit this form. If I wanted to add a phone number, just for example, or here, let's just add a name. You just drag it in there. Let me click on Save and Exit. Now you'll see that I've got a name and my email address, and it starts getting janky because I, put it in wrong. But you guys get the idea. You can literally edit the contact form right here inside of Elementor. But I'm just going to click on it and say Delete right there. Click on Save when you're done deleting that. Okay, so now there's my contact form. Now, obviously, that's the first contact form. The other contact form is going to be over on the contact page. So let me show you guys that really quickly, just before we move on so I don't forget. I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and we will go to WP Forms right here. And you can click on All Forms, which I'm going to open on a new tab. You'll see that you've got two of them. There we go. You've got two of them. Newsletter sign-up form and the contact form. The newsletter sign-up, obviously you guys just saw it. The contact form, let's go ahead and edit it really quickly. You'll see that's got your name, email, subject, and content, or the message. Now, anytime someone enters information into this contact form and then clicks send, it's automatically going to send it to your email. And so you'll just receive an email from your website that says contact form submission or whatever, and it'll have all of the information that these people placed in here. It's just going to be in the email, and so you can read through it, right? So they're basically emailing you right now. Now, the way that you double check this is going to your email, and this is the only thing I wanted to show you. You go to the Settings tab, Notifications, and you'll see the send to email address. It's using my admin email, which is, that's short code, pulling it automatically from the admin account that you created with Hostinger, okay? If you guys don't want to use that email, you can literally just delete this and start entering in your own email. So yada, yada, yada at blah.com, right? But I'm going to leave it just using my admin email because that email's fine. Click on Save, and we can close out of the tab and close out of this tab as well. Okay, so I think the website is looking fantastic. Next, what we can do is we can close out of Elementor. So now we're back at our dashboard. Let's go ahead and open our website up on a new tab. And then from here, you can see the different pages that we have. So we've got the services page, right? Which looks sick. I love how it's got like this dark top and the green down below. We've got the about page, and then we have the contact page. Now I'm gonna let you guys make changes to these as you want to. I don't see any point in changing most of it, except for obviously changing the background image that appears on all three of them. So let me just show you guys how you can make changes. The same way how we were on the home page like this, and then we clicked on Edit with Elementor, just go to the services page, and then you can click on Edit with Elementor right here. It's that simple. And then if you want to go to the About page, you can click on Edit with Elementor, and then Contact, Edit with Elementor. Now let me go ahead and show you guys, if you edit the services page with Elementor, you guys already know, you can just click right here and literally change whatever text you want. Same thing with this one. Same thing with all of this text right here. As you can see, the title, branding and marketing is right here. And then the text down below is right here. So you guys can change that. You guys know how to edit your button. You can just right click on it. And so if you want to say get in touch, you'd probably want to connect this to your contact page. Just like this. You'd probably want this one to link to the contact page. And same thing with this one. So we'll update just like this. Now, obviously, I need to change all three of these to be the same services that I have on my homepage. So let me do that right now. This was web design. And then the second one was SEO optimization. All right, and then we've got the branding and marketing was content creation. Okay. And then you guys could enter in your little snippets. Again, if you guys don't have the social proof, you can literally just delete this section and it's going to pull this image up. And you'll notice that the image is kind of encroaching up here. So what you can do is you can edit this section, go to the advanced tab, and just add some padding on the bottom. So let's just say like 100. Let's do, yeah, 100. Actually 150. And we no longer have the social proof right there. Perfect. We'll click on update to save. Okay. And next, we can close out of this page, open our website up again, and we can edit the about page. Same thing, you would click on edit with Elementor. And from here, you can change the text. You guys know how to change the text over here, as well as the image. You can click on it and delete this and have a different picture over here. And then scroll on down and you've got testimonials, which again is social proof. And we'll be talking about how you're going to get testimonials and how you're going to get the social proof again in part 2, so don't worry. But we do touch on testimonials. When we do, you'll see where you're going to get them from and how you'll put them in your website. All you do is you come over here and you just click on one. If you want to change the picture, you can change the picture to somebody else. So let's pick this guy. So now he's there twice, but as you can see, it just takes the picture. If you want to change the text up here, you would literally just type out whatever they say about you. So you would say, hey, send me an email reviewing all of the work that I did for you. This is like a testimonial I'm going to use on my website. And then they would send you an email saying, wow, I really liked Levi's work. He did a great job and he increased my sales. And then you just copy paste that right onto your testimonial right here. And then you can also change the name because it's right here. So instead of Priscilla, let's call this guy John Doe. Or John Smith, I think is what you're supposed to do. Okay, cool. So that's how you guys can change your testimonials. And then you also have this little star rating. You click on it. You've got a rating scale, 0 to 5, or you could do 0 to 10, and now there's 10 stars, right? And then you can literally say what the rating is. So it's 4.5, and as you can see, it's 4.5. If I say this is like a 2-star rating, he gave me 2 stars, right? Let's just say 5 stars. We're going to pretend like we're good. So there's 5 stars. Same thing down below. You guys know how to change this picture. You just click on it and you can change the picture. And you guys can change your text as well. Close out of this page and we'll open our website up one final time to go to the contact page. And from the contact page, you'll see that we have 2 things. We've got the contact form and information up here. And then we've got the map down below. Now the map, you can right click on it, or excuse me, you don't right click because it's trying to interact with the map. You have to actually click on the pencil icon right over here. And you're editing Google Maps. Literally just put any address in here. And it's going to use Google Maps to search for that address, which I just put Austin, Texas, because that's where I live. And now I've got Austin, Texas right here, and I can zoom out a little bit if I want to, and there's Austin. So that's pretty cool. You can also choose what the starting zoom is. So let's zoom in a little bit more, actually. Wow, that's way too far. Yeah, let's zoom into like 18. Okay, wow, we're right in the middle of downtown Austin. There's 6th Street and 5th right there. Okay, and so you can also change the height of how big this widget is, so maybe something like that. Okay. Now up above, we've got the contact form, which you guys know how to edit the contact form. You would just say edit WP form, and you can say edit the selected form right here. And then you guys can put in whatever you want. So you guys can move email to the top if you want to, or you can move name up there. If you want to get their phone number, you can add a numbers field. Click on it. And first thing you'd want to do is go to advanced and hide that label so that it's not showing up. But then you could add a placeholder and say phone number. Actually, not phone number. You'd want to put like 555 5555 or something like that. Or here, let me put the parentheses in front. So phone number is where you would add right here. Or you could just say phone number if you wanted to. That way it matches with all of these placeholders. It says email, so phone number. And then you could click on save. And now you have a phone number field right here. But I'm gonna go ahead and remove it. And so you can just click on it and delete it over here on the right. And we'll click on save. So you guys know how to make changes to your contact form. Over here on the left-hand side, we can change the text. You guys already know how to do that by just clicking on the website, and you can literally just type. Now these are a little different. You can click on it. And over here you've got each one of these lines. So this is the address and this is the phone number. Click on it and you can change the icon and you can change the text. It's really easy. So let's pretend instead of an address, I want this to be an email. I could click here and search for like an envelope. Let's use this one. So now it's an email icon, like it's an envelope. And then I can literally just change the text right here. All right, and so now I've got my email and phone number available for someone to use. And that's pretty much how you do it. If you want to add a new one, you just click on add item, and now I've got a third one that I can use, and I can change the text and the icon. You can delete by clicking on the X, and you can duplicate by clicking on this little piece of paper right here. All right, next we can click on the follow us, these little social media icons. Same thing. You guys can rearrange them by dragging and dropping them, by the way. But you can click on it, and you can change the icon as well as the link. And so if this is Facebook, I would open up a new tab, log into my Facebook, and then copy the URL and paste it right here. And then I'd do the same thing with YouTube. I would go over to YouTube like this, and I would open up my channel, so Create a Pro website like this, and I would copy it, Control-Command-C, and I would paste it right here, just like that. There's an example for you. Let's make YouTube in front. And so anytime someone clicks on this, it's going to open up YouTube on a new tab. Click on Update to Save. And if you guys wanted to add one, you can add it and then say, okay, let's say we already have Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, so let's try Instagram. There's Instagram. And I could add my link. And so now, as you can see, Instagram is right there. You can also remove by clicking on the X icon like that. Okay, and so that's pretty much it. Oh, and we forgot the background image up here. So you can right click and say edit section, or you can click on the 6 dots, go to the style tab, and then you can just change the background image to be a picture of your freelancers and not some random people back here. And you can do that same thing by changing, oops, I said on a new window. Hang on a second. New tab. You can do the same thing on the services page because you got the picture back there, as well as the about page. That picture's back there, and the contact. So you guys might want to do that. Okay, so that's editing the website, and I think it looks pretty good. So from here, what I'm going to do is close out of my tab, go back to my dashboard. For the next part of the video, we're going to be jumping out of Elementor and jump into the theme customizer to edit the header, the footer, and the logo, as well as the site icon. Elementor edits all of the content in the middle of your website except for the header and the footer, which are the very top and bottom sections of your site. Think of it like a sandwich. Elementor lets you design the middle of the sandwich, and the header and footer is edited by the customizer. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go up and open up our website on a new tab again, and we're going to go to the Customize tab right here. And instead of going to global and colors like we were doing earlier, we're going to drop down to header builder right here. And you'll notice that down below, we've got a visual representation of exactly what's happening up on top, which it's hard to see, but you guys can kind of get a grip. We've got the logo over here, as you can see. We've got the primary menu in the middle, and then we have the button over here on the right-hand side. And so one by one, we're going to make changes to all three. Now, over here on the left-hand side, we've got the logo. So this is the part of the video where I told you guys I was going to show you how to build one for free. So let's go ahead and do that right now so that we can upload one to our website. We're going to open up a new tab and go to a website called Logo Maker, but without the E. And from here, we can click on Start Design. So up here in the top left corner is where you can search through all of the millions of graphics that they have available on the website for free. I'm going to click on Back to Canvas over here. On the left-hand side, we've got things like text and basic shapes, so like square or circle or something like that, right? And then over here on the right-hand side is whenever we click on something, we can change the saturation, so whether it's black and white or if it's saturated. And then we can also change the color by going around the wheel, and we have the opacity and layers and things like that. So I'm going to highlight everything and click on Delete on my keyboard. Well, type Delete on my keyboard. There we go. So let's start from scratch. First thing I'm going to do is go over to the top left corner, and I'm going to go to the abstract category just like this. And I'm going to see if I can find just some kind of an abstract shape that I like. Or maybe instead of abstract, I'll actually go to shapes. And you guys can look through here and see which ones you like. And so you guys can scroll through here and check out all the different shapes that they have, but I really like this one, and this is also the one that I used for the example, so I'm going to pull it over here. And then I can add some text just like this, and I can drag it into place and place it like right here, and I could say something like market. And then we can change the text color to black, just like this. And then I can add some more text, and I could add something like digital services. There we go. And I can place it underneath. And if I want, I can click on it and I can change the color to black, just like that. Next, what I'm going to do is click on market, and I'm going to change the font. And so you've got categories over here on the left, and then you've got the actual font on the right. So I'm going to choose the pixel monospace style, and I'm going to go with this one, audio wide. I think it looks really cool. And I'm going to increase the size of the text here, and I think that looks pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually click on this one, click on the styles button, and increase the letter spacing so it's all spaced out like this, so it looks all modern and stuff. And then I can kind of reduce the size if I want to. And now let's actually put everything together. So I'll put market right here. I'll put digital services right here. Let's go ahead and increase the size of market even more. So something like that. Perfect. Here, let's get this out of the way. We'll place this here. And I'm also going to increase the letter spacing of market as well, just a little bit. So something like this. That looks pretty good. Probably place it right here. And then we can put digital services right below if we want to. So something like this. And I might actually increase the size of the text so that it's about the length of market as well. I think that looks pretty good. And then the last thing we're going to do is basically make everything the same color as the colors on my website. And so the way that we can do that is we can go back to this tab and go over to the global colors, if you guys remember. And I'm just going to copy this color code right here. And then I can paste it right here. So let's highlight everything, paste it right here. That looks pretty good. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is actually change the M to be the same green color as my website. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to edit this text and delete the M and just move it over. And then I'm going to duplicate it, but this time it's only going to be the M, just like that. Let's reduce that so it's about the same size. And then let's copy and paste the color code. And I can place it into my logo just like this and make sure that it's centered. And voila. Don't you think that logo looks pretty cool? I think so. All right. And so when you guys are ready to save your logo, and by the way, it's literally that simple to create a logo. But when you guys are ready to save your logo, you can go up here to the top right corner and click on Save Logo. Ignore this blue button because if you click on it, it's going to ask you to pay for the high resolution file. We're not going to do that. We're going to click on Download the low resolution file, accept the terms, and download for free. And as you can see, it's going to download directly to your computer down here. So that's pretty cool. The last thing we need to build really quickly is the site icon, which is basically this little guy right up here. We're going to customize this as well. And the way I'm going to do it is actually keep the M and then just delete everything else. Just like this. And I'm going to make it a lot bigger. So something like that. And then you can click on Save, Download Low Resolution File, and accept the terms. And so now I've got my logo and my icon saved in my computer, so I no longer need Logo Maker open. And we can go back into the header builder. And from here, we can change out the logo. So we can go over here to Site Title and Logo, and you'll see the logos right here. So we're just going to say Change. And remember, I already created it off camera. So there's that logo. And I'm going to select it. And I'm going to skip the cropping. And voila, now my logo's on the website. And I can use the logo width to kind of increase the size if I want to. So I'll make it kind of a little bit bigger, something like this. Okay, so that looks pretty good, but now I need to edit my text over here and also throw up my icon. So let's do that right now, actually, because we're already inside of the site title and logo. If you scroll on down at the very bottom, here's the icon. Select the icon, use my M, skip the cropping, and just like that, now I've got my customized site icon up in the top. So I'm going to click on Publish. Let's refresh that dashboard as well, so now it's got the M on there as well. Pretty cool. Okay, so now that that is finished, we can edit the menu right here. Now the menu, we don't actually need to change the text or anything like that because this obviously goes to your services page, and then this goes to your about page and the contact page. So there's no point in changing that. The only thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to stop this from being a transparent header because on the dark screen you can see the white text but my logo is hard to see. And on the home screen with a white background, it's really easy to see my logo, but you can't see the text. And so we're going to make everything up here a dark gray color and then just make the background white. So inside of the header builder, we can edit the transparent header. And there's no way to turn it off. There's no button that says turn it off. But basically you go to the design tab and you just change the background color to whatever you want. And so I'm going to use one of my color palette colors, which is white. And so now, as you can see, the logo is really easy to see, but my text isn't. So let's go back over and edit the actual primary menu. So we'll click on back and we'll go to the primary menu. Or excuse me, we don't actually edit the primary menu inside of here. If we want to change the color of it, we have to do it inside of the transparent header. So we were in the correct spot. So right after you edit the background overlay, you'll go over here to the menu color and you can literally just change this color to be the dark gray. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then the active color is already pulling my green hover color. So that's pretty cool. And if it isn't, you just change this to be your green color. And then over here on the right-hand side, we've got the button. And just to save time, I'm going to click on the little pencil icon that happens when I hover over it. And it's going to pull me directly to it. Instead of get a quote, I could say get in contact or something like that. But we'll leave it as get a quote. And then from here, we can add the link, which is to our contact page, which we don't actually have. This doesn't search your pages like Elementor does. So you actually have to go and open up your page really quickly, your website. Go to the contact page and copy your URL. And we'll paste it right here. And then we can go to the design tab and we can change the color of the button. So let's make the normal color of the button green. So we'll change the background color to green. And we fixed it. And then anytime you hover over it, it's going to change to this lighter green, which it's not doing it right now because it's glitched out, but let me go ahead and refresh the page and it'll work. First, though, we have to publish our work to save it. I'll refresh the page really quickly. And that happens all the time, by the way. When you're making a lot of changes, sometimes it can't keep up. But now, as you can see, every time I hover, it changes to that lighter green. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so now that we've got our button edited, and when you click on it, it goes to the contact page, as you can see. We've got our navigation menu looking good, as well as the background of our navigation menu looks good. So now, when I go to the services page, as you can see, it's no longer transparent in the picture. We've got a white background. I think it looks good. Okay, so now that we're done with that, we can actually click on the footer builder as well. It's going to automatically scroll you to the bottom of your website. Or if it doesn't, you obviously just scroll down here and you can see the footer down below. And we've got three things. We've got this address right here. And if we look at the visual representation, we've got the address is widget 1. Footer menu is up here and the socials are right here. And it looks like they stack on top of each other. So the way that I'm going to edit these is, first of all, the footer menu, there's really no reason to touch it because it still has the same buttons, home, services, about, and contact. So there's no real reason to change that. If we wanted to, we could click on the widget, go to the design tab, and we can change the colors to actually hover into our light green. And so now the active color, which is back here, as you can see, is basically whichever page you're on. And then the hover color is just whatever you're hovering your mouse over, right? So if I'm on the services page and I go back down to the footer, now services is highlighted, but then also my hover color happens. So that's why there's 3 colors up here. So that's basically the only thing you could do if you really wanted to was change the color. So we'll click on publish to save. Over here on the left-hand side, we can click on widget 1 and we'll edit the widget that's over here. And all it is you just click on it right here and you can literally change the text. So obviously, you would put in your address, or if you don't want an address in there at all, you could remove this and literally just put your logo. So for instance, if I wanted to remove this block, I could click on the 3 dots here and say remove right here. And instead, we will, oh, it looks like there's already a logo widget. You just can't see it because it's white. So we're going to replace the image with our logo. And voila. So we've got a logo on the left, menu on the right. I think that looks fantastic. So I'm going to click on publish and we're good. And then over here on the right, we've got our social icons, which act very similar to the social icons on the contact page. So you guys remember these two social icons? Very similar when you're editing these. You've got the icons, and you can replace the order. So if I want YouTube to be first, I can drag it to the top, and so now it's in the front. You click on it. You can change what it says, which it's YouTube, so I'm just going to leave it as YouTube. You've got the icon, which you can change right here as well to a different icon, which there's no point because every time you add a new social icon, so for instance, if I'm going to add LinkedIn, it automatically add social icon. It's automatically going to use the correct icon. So there's no point in really changing the icon. It's automatically going to have it there. You can hide it by clicking on the eyeball, but that's also basically the equivalent of just deleting it. It's just not going to show up on your website. So by the way, the URL is where you're going to put the link to your YouTube account. And so the same thing with Twitter, you would put in the URL to your Twitter account. Same thing with Facebook, you just copy paste it. You'd open up a new tab, go to your Facebook or whatever, paste the link. So you guys get the idea. And then when you're done, you click on publish and it's good to go. And so that is how we can edit the header, the logo, the navigation, the button, the icon, as well as the footer. And so everything is looking quite good. So I'm going to close out of this and go back to the WordPress dashboard. In this step, we're going to be checking the mobile responsive mode. This basically means that we just built our entire website for the desktop view, but we have to double check that the website also looks good on the mobile view as well, which is more of a vertical rectangle rather than the horizontal rectangle that a desktop view is. Now, the template that we downloaded at the beginning of the video was already built to be responsive with all modes of viewing, but because we made some changes specifically to the hero section, it's a good idea to just double check. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to go over to the top left corner and open my website up again, and we're going to open it up in Elementor. From here, we're going to go to the bottom left corner. Right next to preview changes, we have responsive mode, and so that's what we're going to be opening up now. And you'll see that it opens up a ribbon on the top, and we have the desktop view, the tablet view, and the mobile view. So as you can tell, when I click on it, it's going to open up my website in the mobile view as well as the tablet view. And then obviously we go back to the full screen desktop view. And so the desktop view looks fantastic, but if you open my website on a small laptop screen or on a tablet screen, it's going to look a little different. And then obviously the same thing with the mobile version. So let's go ahead and make changes because the rest of the website is going to look fine because we didn't make too many changes to the template. And the template that we downloaded was already made for the mobile version. The only thing that we're going to have to make changes to obviously is the hero section because we kind of made that one from scratch. And so let's do that now. We'll start with the mobile version. And for the mobile version, the first thing I want to make clear is, let me go ahead and right click and say edit section. Let's go to the style tab. The first thing I want to make clear is anytime you see this little icon right here next to a change that you can make, you'll see that it's got the 3 different mobile responsive versions. Anytime you see that icon, that means that whatever changes you make to this setting, it's not going to affect the other versions of the website. So for instance, let's edit this text right here. Actually, let's do this one because I need to reduce the size anyways. So if I click on this text right here and I go to the style tab, typography, here's my size. You'll see that I've got the icon there. So if I make this huge and then go to the desktop version, you'll see that it's still the same size. And that's because it's saving 3 different sizes for you. So that's pretty cool. So we'll go back to the size and obviously reduce it because I want to make it look a little bit better. So something like this. First, let's fix that background image. It's looking terrible. I'm going to edit the section and go to the style. What I could do is add a totally separate image because it's totally fine. It's not going to affect the desktop view, but I want to keep the same background image. And so what I'm going to do is try playing around with the position. Let's try the top left corner of the image, and it already pretty much fixed it. I don't mind that the cactus is a little bit behind the text right here. Other than that, you can pretty much read everything in the hero section. If you wanted to reduce the size of some of the text, so we go over here, I'm editing the first one here. I could reduce the size of the text. Here, let's make it a little bit bigger, something like 18. Let's go 17. We'll make it look kind of similar to the desktop version where this one's small, this one's a little bit bigger. So we'll go over to the style tab and we can increase the size of this one if we want to. Let's maybe decrease it until it's all on the same line. There we go. And then we can edit this one as well. Go to the typography. And actually, I kind of like the size of that one, but I do feel like it's a little crunched. Everything's really close together. So let's add a little bit of padding in between everything. We'll go to the advanced tab for this first one. And you'll notice again, I have that little icon, meaning if I add padding on the mobile version, it's not going to affect the desktop version. So I can add just a little bit of padding on the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing to this one right here. We'll go to the Advanced tab, unlink the values, and on the bottom, I'm going to add just a little bit of space. And I can also do the same thing for the third heading right here. Just a little bit of space to make it feel a little less congested. Okay, so I think for the mobile version, that looks totally fine. We can go over to the tablet view, and it looks like it's kind of having the same problem. So I can right click and let's try editing the section back here. And let's try moving the image from the center to the center left. And I think that pretty much fixes it again. Let's just play around with the text size again. So we'll go to the Style tab, Typography, and we can reduce the size of this one. Let's go even smaller. We'll do the same thing to this text right here. I can keep the size maybe something like, let's use the arrow keys to kind of be precise. Perfect, we'll make it that big. And then we can reduce the size of this one as well. Perfect, so now they kind of look like two subtitles with a main title here. I can also add a little bit of padding to this one if I wanted to. So maybe on the bottom I want like 10 padding or something like that. And I think it looks pretty good. If I kind of move my cursor away so now you guys can see what it looks like, it looks pretty good there. Nothing is overlapping on my laptop and my button isn't over the cactus or anything. I think that looks pretty good. So now that we've finished the hero section, I'm going to go ahead and finish the entire website on mobile first, and then we'll go back to tablet. But I just wanted to show you guys making the same changes to two different versions can be pretty helpful. So from the mobile version, we're going to scroll on down. We've got the services right here, and they stacked perfectly. Again, same thing with the About section. If I wanted to, I could maybe focus on the right side of the image of the background. So let's edit the section, and we can try it. Sometimes you have to try what looks best, because obviously when you're compressing landscape images down to a portrait view, it can look a little funny. So you're kind of just looking for the best that you can do, right? So let's try focusing on the left of the image. And so that just looks like a gray background. What happens if I focus on the right and bring the building in? That's not very good, because now the text is really hard to read. So I actually might just stick to the center. So the building is still available a little bit on the right, but the text is there. The clients that we worked with, the social proof looks like it's looking just fine. Same thing with the value proposition, and then we have the project contact prompt saying, hey, do you have a project? Contact us. And so it's stacked as well. Same thing with everything below and the gallery. So I think that looks pretty good. If we go over to the tablet view, I'm assuming it's going to be pretty much the same thing. We've already finished editing the hero section, so that looks good. The services looks good. The About looks way better than the mobile version. But again, that's just what to be expected. When you have a mobile version of your website, it's going to look not so great. But, we do the best that we can. Scroll on down, and we have the social proof, and it looks good as well. All the way down, I think it looks fantastic. I don't really need to make any changes. So other than that, when you're done making changes in your mobile responsive modes, you can click on Update to save your work. And then we can also close out of that ribbon if we want to. But honestly, I'm just going to close out of Elementor altogether and take one final look at our website just by opening it up here. And I think it just looks super minimalistic and slick and modern, and I really like how it turned out. The hero section's got this really cool parallax effect. And then we're going again with the whole black and white kind of look, or black and gray, black, white, and gray. For the services and About section, everything looks fantastic. I really like that picture, personally. And then obviously you guys would change out the pictures for that. The services page, I'm assuming you guys would have made some changes to obviously accommodate the different services that you guys would provide. And then we have the About section as well, or the About page, excuse me. And finally that contact page, where we have the map, which is going to take a second to load, as well as the contact form.
All right, so now that we have the site all up and running, now it's time to start focusing on how to actually run your digital marketing agency, which is part 2 of the video. So how do you start a digital marketing agency? Well, the first thing I would say is developing your business plan. You want to make sure that you understand what you're getting into before you actually get into it. You want to think about defining the overarching goals for your marketing agency. What are you hoping to achieve here? Maybe you're trying to establish a certain number of clients, or maybe you just want to generate a specific amount of revenue per month. Maybe you just want a sustainable side income that can work for you in your free time. Whatever the case may be, you want to make sure that you understand what you're trying to do before you actually start so that you can model your business towards that end. After that, I would try identifying the specific audience that you want to target. And this is what most people call a target audience for obvious reasons. Are you going to focus on small businesses or startups or large corporations? And honestly, if you're just starting with a digital marketing agency for the first time, I'd recommend just starting with small businesses and startups first. I wouldn't try and tackle any kind of large corporations just yet. Start small and you can grow your business as you continue to grow. If you're having trouble coming up with answers to any of these questions, you can always research your competition to identify their strengths and weaknesses, and you can find out if there's something that they're doing that you can just do better. You can also just do it to get an understanding of where everyone is in the industry. And this is a great way to stand out in the marketplace. Okay, so the second step in developing your digital marketing agency would be choosing the niche of services that you're going to provide. You're going to try and narrow down what services your agency will offer. Are you going to try and specialize in a specific area like SEO or social media marketing, or are you going to provide a range of services? And this is where you can also try to establish your agency's unique value proposition. When trying to pick what services you offer, I would recommend, when you're just starting out, sticking to a small amount of services that you offer. Obviously, as you develop more clients and trust, you can start to offer more services. But at the beginning, I would maybe only choose 3 or less that you can really get good at. For my example earlier on when I was building the website, I chose social media marketing, web design, and paid ads. Obviously, you guys can choose whatever marketing skills or techniques that you think you're best at. Choosing these services is really important, and you want to make sure that you're an absolute master in all 3. If you're watching this video and you have no idea how to do any kind of marketing, that's also totally fine. You can also go to sites like Udemy or Skillshare and sign up for courses to learn how to do specific skills like SEO optimization or social media management. Or you can even go to YouTube and search for most of this kind of stuff for free. You'd be surprised how much you can actually learn on YouTube. It's important to make sure that at the beginning you narrow down your services. It's okay to know a little bit about everything, but you want to be a master at only a few things. So how do we find our first clients? Well, if you're brand new to digital marketing, you're gonna want to start by doing a couple projects for free or for an unbelievably cheap price. And you might want to do this for people who are friends or family or acquaintances. It's low pressure and low risk because you know who you're doing the project for and you're not charging much, if anything at all. And this is the most important point that I want to make in step number 3. The way that you can approach this is you'll go up to your friend or you're an acquaintance that owns a business and you're going to propose to them an idea. You're going to tell them that you're a new digital marketing agency and you're trying to practice your skills. And the way that you'd like to do this is by working for them for free with limited responsibility and liability. Tell them that you're going to pay for all of the ad spend so it's not costing them anything, and you're attempting to improve their brand awareness and generate leads. So far, this is just a huge win for them. More clients completely for free. On top of this, you're also going to mention that you want to reserve the right to stop whenever you want. And then at the very end, you can tell them that the only thing that you want in return is, if you do a good job and they're satisfied, to provide you with a testimonial or a review or a referral. Now, when I say that you're going to work for free, I don't actually mean that you're technically working for free. Yes, you're not getting paid any money, or maybe you're charging an unbelievably cheap amount of money for what you're actually doing. But what you're actually working for, what the real prize is that you're doing all this work for, is testimonials and referrals. You're trying to build your social proof so that eventually you can show off how many people are really happy with what you do. But until you have that clout, you're gonna have to settle for cheaper prices and working for testimonials and referrals. So after you're done working marketing campaigns and strategies for friends and family and acquaintances, you'll easily be able to do the next technique for getting clients, which would be word of mouth. Every time you do a project for someone as an agency, tell them to mention your name if they have anyone that they know who's looking for a marketing package, and this usually works pretty well. Do the same thing with your friends and family right after you've worked for them. Ask if they know anyone who might need a website built or optimization on their existing website, or if they need ads pushed to their website or anything like that. But it doesn't just stop there. You can also check local small businesses in your area and take a look at their website online. If they have a website and it's old, you can offer to bring in more clients to their shop with social media marketing or paid ads or something like that. And if they don't even have a website at all, then you can offer to build it for them for a reasonable price. Now, these are just 3 ways of using word of mouth to get clients that you've already had a couple projects for. You can proactively ask around, check with local businesses, and ask previous clients to tell their friends about you. Now, once you've built up a decent word of mouth reputation and you have a few testimonials on your website, now reaching new clients is going to be so much easier. Now, when it comes to reaching out to new clients, one way that I've personally used and also have hired other freelancers by doing is by providing some value to your potential client and offer them a free demo or a sample of your work.
Let me give you two quick scenarios and you tell me which freelancer that you would rather work with. So here's freelancer number 1. He did little to no research on the client and cold emails them with this email that they copy and pasted to different clients. Hey, client name, I'm a digital marketer and I want to do work for you. Do you have anything that I can help you with? I am very skilled at many things and do a wide range of services for you, including blah, blah, blah. Please let me know if you would like to work together. Now here's freelancer number 2. This freelancer did diligent research on a specific client that they're trying to work with, and they noticed a few things about the client's company that they're not doing and what the freelancer can help them with. Hello, client name. My name is Levi and I'm with blah, blah marketing agency. I love your website and your products that you offer. You seem to really be providing a lot of value to your customers, and I especially love, insert some genuine compliment about the company or the product here. One thing about your website that I noticed when I signed up for your mailing list, I didn't receive a welcome email. This is something that I can help you with to build a stronger relationship with your customers and encourage them to come back to your website and shop with you. Below, I've attached a sample welcome email sequence that you can use to engage with your new email subscribers and further educate them about your product line. Have a look when you have a bit of time and let me know your thoughts. I hope to chat with you soon. Tell you what, I'm ready to hire that guy right now. Now, which of those 2 emails are you guys going to reply to? Just remember that you always want to offer value to your potential client when reaching out. This is sure to make you stand out from the crowd and let your client know what you can do for them and exactly why they should hire you. Now, you obviously don't want to work for free for very long, so once you feel comfortable enough in your capabilities and people are telling you that they're satisfied with your work, you can start charging more money per project. Which brings us to the next point, which is determining your pricing. Now, trying to find out what you want to charge as a digital marketing agency when you're just starting out can be very, very challenging. You don't want to accidentally underprice your work because that can lead to feeling underpaid and burning out. But you also don't want to price your work too high because this can make it really difficult to attract clients, especially when you're new. First thing that I want to make clear is that it's really important to continuously monitor your pricing and to adjust those prices as needed to stay competitive. If you've noticed the past couple of projects you're feeling burnt out and underpaid, maybe it's time to start upping your prices a bit. Determining how much you want to price your work is really important. So here's a few factors that you can consider to help you determine your pricing. The first thing you want to pay attention to is your costs. You want to consider the cost of labor, that is how many hours it took you to finish, but you also want to pay attention to the software, the tools, the ad spend, and everything else that came into finishing this project. Make sure you understand how much it costed you to provide the project so that you can obviously cover your expenses and still make a profit from doing the job. Next thing that you should do is pay attention to the standard rates that your competition is charging when doing a project in your area for a business of the similar size and industry. And this has got to be one of the easiest ways to determine how much to price your projects. Just looking at the competition and seeing what they charge for the same thing and then trying to make your offer slightly more affordable. Next, you want to remember what services you're providing and what type of value you're offering your client. Are you providing convenience-based offers like content creation, social media management, and blog writing? Or are you providing results-based offers like paid traffic, email marketing, or SEO? Essentially, are you just providing content without worrying about how much money you actually bring into the company? Or is it strictly based on your results? Like how many additional sales are you bringing into the company? Depending on which of these models you prefer to work under, you'll have to include this in your pricing strategy. This next one might be obvious, but you'll also want to consider your client's budget when pricing your work. You're going to want to understand what their budget is and try and tailor your pricing accordingly. In addition, you want to offer a range of pricing options rather than just offering one price that may be also appealing to your clients. This gives them the option to pay for a cheaper service rather than a more expensive service if that's what they want to do. Lastly, you're going to want to take into account the project's complexity. You're trying to price out your work. Is it going to take a lot of time and effort and creativity to deliver these results? Or is it simply just running ads to their website? More complex projects require a higher pricing point, so keep this in mind. Overall, you're looking for a happy medium between covering your expenses and making a profit, as well as fairly pricing your work so that everyone walks away happy. And here's a quick bonus tip when it comes to pricing. If you're overbooked with work, it usually is a good sign to raise your prices. If every single client you talk to says yes instantly to your prices, maybe you set them too low. Remember that hearing no every once in a while, because your prices are too high, probably means you've got your pricing at a competitive rate. Now, on the other hand, if all you're getting are no's, then maybe you should also consider lowering your prices a little bit to accommodate for that. Okay, so this is the part where I want to talk about building your team. Or, on the other hand, this might just be a side hustle that you want to keep to yourself that allows you to work from home and make some extra cash, not having to worry about hiring people and doing all of that. And that's totally fine, but I wanted to make sure that you understood that you are able to do both. This digital marketing agency, I'm going to assume, is only going to have one employee at the beginning, and that's you. Now, whether or not you want to hire anybody is completely up to you, but just in case you're interested, I'm going to show you how I would do it.
First of all, if you already know someone that does the type of marketing that you're looking for, you can always use your social media to try and reach out to them, whether they're a close friend or an acquaintance, and then start the conversation off that way. But just in case you don't have any friends, in the marketing space, there's always a backup option for going to websites like Upwork, Freelancer.com, or Fiverr and trying to find freelancers and develop relationships with them. You can hire freelancers from any one of these websites for a couple projects and then eventually ask to do business with them off of the freelancing site. And this will help you develop the relationship along the way. When it comes to scaling your business, there's no other way to do it than outsourcing some of the work so that you can take on more projects. Or if you're into that passive income that everyone's always looking for, eventually you can just replace yourself with a couple of freelancers, and that's how you would do that. Either way, it's your choice whether or not you want to stick to a team or just the solo bit. All right, so the last step that I want to focus on after you've already decided how you're going to run the business would be building your online presence. Because what kind of a digital marketer would you be if you didn't digitally market yourself successfully? I know I would definitely be hesitant to hire a digital marketing agency that doesn't even have social media presence, or God forbid they're lacking a website. If your whole shtick is selling people on how you can build an online presence for them and develop more clients, but you haven't already done that for yourself, it can look pretty bad. But hey, kudos to you because you already have your website up and running from the first part of the video. Now all that's left to do is your social media presence as well as learning how to run some ads and those kinds of things. If you're offering SEO optimization and paid ads as one of your services, then you should definitely be running the same paid ads and SEO optimization on your own personal website. I feel like this is self-explanatory, but I wanted to make sure that I touched on this at the very end of the video. At this point, friends, it's go big or go home. If you wanted to be a digital marketing agency, you should definitely have an Instagram, a TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, everything that you can possibly get. You should have your website with links to your social media, and your social media accounts should have links to your website. If there's a popular platform out there, you should be on it, plain and simple. If you're trying to show prospective clients that you know how to get someone's name out there and how to drive traffic and how to produce more leads, then you've got to show that you know how to get your own name out there. It's not hard to get your online presence established, but it is essential. If you want to see exactly how to go about setting up your socials and building an online presence, check out this video right here where I dive deep into this topic and I show you everything that you need to know about how to get your business online. I'll see you in the next video.